Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll. I put a new awning on yesterday. I liquid edged. I actually had a very busy day in the garden yesterday. Today I'm clean. It's so good. It's wonderful for the gardener when she gets to be clean, or he. But you can't really tell I did yet because this is how badly it was needing it. But it won't be long, hopefully, till this will start well, dying along the edge here where it won't go ahead and grow on over into the garden. This is the pretty St. John's wort bush. Wanting to clip off this dead daylily or spent daylily from yesterday, but I don't want to get it all dirty. I've got even got my nails clean, and look, they're so long for a gardener they are, and for all the work I've done. And it looks like I do have another start. Look at this beautiful daylily coming out to enjoy this day. We are supposed to have a beautiful day today until later on this evening, and then we have chances for those straight winds and tornadoes I was hoping we wouldn't get. I have been lucky to have lived in Oklahoma all my life and never been in a tornado, but I hope I can hold on to that. Do not want to speak too soon. I also sprayed insecticide yesterday. I just have so many of those little bloom-eating bugs that I hate. But I got that done, and also behind all of the evergreens, and on this side of them too, underneath them, I got all the little seedlings and weeds coming up, mostly just little seedling trees. And it was the second time for that job, and I may have to do it again, but I hope not. I hope they're going to be pretty much wiped out this time for a while. I also trimmed back some of the grapes that were just hanging out over the path where you couldn't walk very well through it, and I put one of the bird netting on it, probably not soon enough, because I'm sure the birds have already gotten some of it, some of the grapes, and there weren't that many to begin with, but maybe we'll get a few. And the bird netting is reusable, so hopefully I'll have it for next year ready. I also planted a few more seeds. There was a couple coming up in the back of this one, and I think this is a weed right here, but I did plant a few little zinnia seeds here in front of this, in the front part of this pot. At least one of my little verbena is just taking off and going. My goodness, I'm already seeing some I missed. You can tell where I got some of them, but just right up under there a little bit closer, and you'll see there are trees growing up. I've got to come back and redo this little job a bit. Look what decided to shine today. Most of them have already gone away and left their little seed heads, but I guess that rain we got last night just brought this little clematis out. That's wonderful. And we didn't get bad weather. We had just a few little bits of hail, and they were not bigger than marbles. And it just was nice, a nice rain. So we were lucky. Thanking God for this beautiful sunshiny day. And the rose moss is looking great after the rain too. It usually really shines after a rain. Gets that nutrition from heaven. So this little dacia, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but this little burgundy spike thing, I lost mine, all except one leaf at the top that's on its way out. So I saw this and I didn't resist. And also I was looking for some coleus, and I found this one on the clearance sale. And all of these were on clearance sale except for these two little hostas. And I'm going to put these hopefully in those two pots that I know I lost some in. And I hope the snails will leave them alone. And it seems like once they get established pretty well, they get nibbled on, but not usually taken out, thank God. So hopefully that will be what will happen. And everything else was on sale. And look at this little begonia. It wasn't even in a pot. I put it in that little pot. But I was not I know that I'm not the one to try to save it because I need to get the healthiest plants I can find usually, but I can't resist a good sale either. So there are some places in my garden still that just need a little spot of color, a little bloom. So I'm going to put these around where I need them, and I'm going to try to save this little begonia, and hopefully the hostas will one day shine. I love Susie's. I've shown it to you before, but it looks this color. I'm not sure if this will be the same kind or not, but I would hope it would be because it's just a beautiful blue cast of green, and I love it. So our most recent rain also took out part of this, so you can see where it kind of dumped it there, and I put some of it back in, added some fresh soil to it, and put some, I forgot to tell you and show you the seed packets, but I've already planted those now, but some of them are in here. I got some phlox. My friend that came and saw the garden that I gave the Bouncing Betties to had told me that she got some phlox seeds, and she showed me the pictures of them. They were coming up looking so great. I thought, oh, I want to try that. So, but my seed, they were supposed to be planted in March, and of course in May, but of course it's the middle of June now. So, but I'm going to go ahead. I did go ahead and give them a try. I hope some or all of them come up. And I think I am going to have to go look through my seeds again, because my sister Kathy has this pretty old fountain that is just so pretty. I should have got a picture for it. I asked my husband to, but he took a picture of us in front of it, which totally blocked it, so we didn't get that picture. But I hope to go there again and get a picture of it and take her some of my zinnia seeds to put around it, because I think that will just draw attention right to it and be beautiful. And since I'm looking at this with you, just remember how this looked when it started, and it's full and beautiful right now, and still hopefully has a long way to go. And I put my little plants that I purchased, the little ones they were selling out, but I had several of the little purple annual salvias, and so I put those along in the little pots where there was just kind of a empty spot in them. So hopefully that will fill them out and they'll look good. I see a tree still coming up. I'm tired of pulling out trees, but I will keep going as long as I can. See that maple tree coming up right there. So now it's gone. You can tell the little impatiens are filling out more too. And after our rain, little calabachoa or mini petunia has got a few more blooms on it. And this little pot also got one of the purple salvias. They don't look like much now, and always there's no guarantee they will, but they have before. They've come out of this, put on some growth, put on bloom, and just look great. So that's of course what I always hope for. I did notice that I had one of these beautiful little impatiens that died out in the front, and I threw it away, and hopefully, I'm sure the snails is what got it. I did spray for those again, and I'm hoping I'm able to, to get those where they won't kill things out here for me. And then I did put my new little hostas in their pots where the snails had destroyed the ones that I put in earlier this spring, so that they're looking good. There is still one empty pot right back here. You can't see it, that it's empty for this little hosta in front of it spreading out over there, but it was a beautiful one that I was proud to have, and now it's gone. So, but maybe I'll try it again someday. This little calabachoa and fanflower are both looking great. I don't know how much longer that will last for me either, but I'm hoping for the best. Of course, it looks so good right now. This little coleus is just filling out like crazy and looking great. And then I did finally get one of my vines to come up. I'm pretty sure this is a cardinal climber, and it should go right up this little trellis and bloom and look great. The hollyhock blooms are looking pretty this morning too. And we have just about finished off the radishes, so my husband actually planted a few more. I planted some of those little phlox seed in several of the pots that didn't have any or much coming up out of them. And while not in bloom right now, my little blue bacopa is still looking healthy. And this little stained glass plum coleus is looking great since I clipped the ones that were turning dark and not having this pretty glow about them. And actually, some of those live too. I think these are going to be pretty, and I don't yet know if they will be the trailing kind and stay small, or if they will get bigger, because I've definitely seen a coleus that's just the regular size coleus this color. We'll see how that works. And then also I had one back here that lived, but some of them didn't. This one I'm pretty sure is on its way out, and I don't think any of them lived that I put in this one. Might be a little peachy one right back there between this little bear and this little doll. So you just never know. It's always worth a try to do some of the things like seeds and clippings. So I took this little clipping out of where I had it. It's not looking as great as it did, but it's probably just going through a little bit of transplant shock. Hopefully it will be fine, and I'll show you why I took it out of its pot. And that would be because this little plant was practically dying. It's still in there, but the only thing left of it is this one little leaf hanging on barely. So I did get a new plant. I think it's called a Dracaena, a burgundy Dracaena, and I love these little plants, but for me, for some reason, the leaves start dying from the bottom up. But I'm hoping it'll hang on and just keep getting more beautiful. Although some of my seeds did not come up, in other places they'll probably have to be thinned out, so we should have some of these that we may be able to transplant into places that are empty. When I bring my this is a New Guinea impatient, when I bring them in, they usually just die for me, but look at this one. It is going and going and going. I brought it back out and it thought, oh, this is where I was last year. I love it here. And it just kept on going. It's so pretty. So proud of it. The yarrow is looking great today too. And this is my favorite spot for the catnip. It's raised up enough you can just really see it. It gets the sunlight of the morning here and just really shines. And I just love it here. Oh, and look at my little Dichandra. It's not doing very much, but I wanted to tell you that when I went to see my friend Susie, she said, you have to come and look at this plant that you told me about. And I trusted you when you told me that it would keep going and going, but I really didn't see that it was much, But look at it now, she said, and it was so exciting. It was so beautiful. Hers is hanging down way much more than this one is. But it was so beautiful. I hope to get to show that to you before very long. I'm going to wait until her tall phlox is all in bloom, and some of it is already blooming, which I don't have any of mine blooming just yet, but they will follow suit a little bit later. Also, when I was finishing up last night, I thought, I haven't seen my little hibiscus start that I got from my sister in a couple of days. I'm going to go look for that, make sure it's doing great. And it wasn't doing great. Remember all the little foliage that was on here? But the stem is still green, so I'm still hoping for the best for it. I so want it to live and thrive and do well and be like a 3 by 5 foot little bush here full of beautiful Lord Baltimore hibiscus. This can be such a great beauty and just take over such a large area and fill it up with beauty if it could only happen. It can happen if it only will happen. Yes, this is one of my absolute favorite daylilies. It's a spider daylily, and it's so big and so beautiful. And of course, these are more of the screaming orange daylilies. Their bloom only lasts for one day, but there'll be more opening up, and they do this until every bud is gone. And I was noticing last night too when I went in that the scent in the air was just wonderful, and I know what's causing that. That's this tree lily. It smells so good. I'm going to go over there and get a little bit closer up for you. And as I'm going up to that taller tree daylily, I wanted to show you these because they're just looking so good this morning too. But this is the tree lily that I was talking about that really puts out a wonderful scent, especially at night it seems, or maybe I just don't smell it as much during the day, but at night you can come out and just walk out the gate and there that scent will greet you. The lilies are definitely one of the most important summer blooms for the garden. Of course, you could be like me, be out here in the heat, snipping off old dead blooms when you have a million things you need to be doing. But there, doesn't that look so much better? And the daisies are looking good. And the coneflowers are definitely another of the pretty summer flowers. Beautiful blooms. And the Russian sage just got its pretty bright blue color going on there too. And I filled up this little pot, which I hadn't worried about it before because it's so covered with clematis vine. And I may try to pull it back away from there a little bit more because I did put some beautiful little periwinkle in here, or vinca, and also some of the red. And I think, I'm hoping, and I believe it is, the same shade of red as these little centers in the periwinkle. So I think they will make a pretty showing later on this season. And my husband and a lady at Hobby Lobby helped me find this little dove to put back in her hand. She had one there once before, and I think I've already told you, but I'm pretty sure a little bird decided that would look good in her living room. And I know I do get to acting like a kid in the garden sometimes, but it's just like it's a little fantasy world out here to me. And I just can hardly believe that I'm actually able to do this, because for so many years I never thought I would, and I didn't have time for it. My job and my family took up all my time. And then I'll have to tell you the story of how it all happened and came about one day, but just suffice it to say, I'm so excited that he allowed me to do this, even when I get the heat all bearing down on me, and all I really want to do is go inside where there's air conditioning. But even then, there's something awesome about getting to live a piece of the dream that you had. And especially when you're getting older and you look back and realize it still happened. You thought it would never happen, but it did, and the Lord brought it about. Oh, see, I left my plant food out here last night too. I'll pick that up and take that in with me. But I was putting little plants. Here's actually another spot I put some of that little periwinkle, and this, you can't tell it, but it is that red, and I'm thinking that maybe it's the more wine red, but it may be just a bright red, but we'll see. Either way, it'll be beautiful. I'm hoping they will actually match though. When this little daylily begins to bloom, I always think of my lily, because when I first saw this, I thought, oh look, and I showed my husband. I said, look, this looks just like something that Lily would have painted, because she would do this. She would do all these beautiful colors and swirl them around. It would never be just one solid thing. She's got to have lots of character in her painting, and I love it. Love you, Lily May. So I still also have 3 castor beans, so I may keep 2 simply because you never know what might happen to one. But I really only want 1, and I definitely don't want that 3rd one, so I'll probably ask Ruby if she wants that one. I don't know, she took some seed. I'll have to ask her. She may have planted them and have more than she wants coming up right now too, but we'll see. I'll ask her about that. This is another of my favorites because of the ruffles and the edging on it. So pretty. And, well, first let me see if I can get this butterfly for you. I was going to say that I've always thought this was due to our hot summers because it's when it happens, but I'm looking into it more closely and realizing that this could and probably is a clematis wilt blight. So, and they say the best thing to do is trim it all the way to the ground. I did that one time when I first started getting this, and it never came back for me. So I've always been reluctant to do this. I let this dry and then I rustle it off, and they come back for me. They have been, but now I'm not sure what to do with this. So I may try and see if I can get this one. Go ahead and take it off and see if it will live. It's so, I hate to lose this beautiful bloom. I hate to lose this beautiful plant. But it also can affect all the rest of your clematises. Sure don't want that. And I put some of those little stained glass plum coleus here, which are beautiful, but I'm thinking about seeing if I can put something maybe white or light colored in between them, because they're not easily seen because they're dark. And I would love for this little pot to shine. As I've told you, this is a little pot that my brother fixed up for me. He found this little frog for me. He painted it, and he just fixed it all up, and then he painted his name on there too. And right here is where I put that tiny little scrap of a begonia. I hope I can show it to you when it's grown up, and you'll never be able to tell that it had a hard start. But that may not happen, but I'm gonna hope it will. The bee balm is another of the pretty summer blooms. And here's more of the pretty yarrow. I love it, but all of the colors, the white, the beautiful pastels like this pink, and of course the red. And right over here is where I put the little yellow calabachoa that I found on the sale rack, and so I'm hoping it will do good. Look, this little pink bacopa is still hanging in there wonderfully. Share the joy of creation. Thank you for letting me share this with you. This is another of the little pots that got some seed in it, and I hope it will grow here. My little petunia is going away. There's not much of it left there. And the little petunias and other seeds that I planted in the strawberry pyramid are still not doing much. That's not to say they won't ever, so I'm still hoping for them, but yeah, they're not looking so good. But I will keep adding to things and trying to get it going where it will be full and beautiful. And I do still hope I can get this one full and beautiful before the season's over. I think I may need to get some little rocks to lift some of my little things that have a saying on it. I would like to get those where you can read them without the flowers or the plants popping up in front of them and hiding them. Noticed this little plant was looking bad, but now it's looking good. You know, I think it's because I sprayed for those snails. I think that is what saved this one so far, and I hope I can keep on top of that. Now this little plant, it's one of the pink garas. I had two, one here and one right beside the gate, and both of them look like this. I don't think there's any life left there unless they come up from the root. So I'm very disappointed. I did, however, find one that I did get started in a little watering can in the front, so I do still have a little piece of one. And I'm seeing that this is another of my favorites, and maybe the same reason, because of that outline in white. It just pops, makes the deep purple pop. This is called Indian Giver. Oh, I'm noticing that my little basket of daisies, which these are a little shorter daisy, but it's in bloom right now. I hope my great-granddaughters are blooming too. They helped me to divide these, and I was able to put some here and to send some home with them. I just noticed that this little pink fan flower is looking healthy still too. That's great. Of course, I think the heat is coming on. We have another chance of rain tonight, so that's great too. But I think after that, as far as the eye can see in the forecast, it's going to be in the high 80s and 90s. We'll see how we fare through that, the garden and I. Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.